Hey there, and welcome to the Dragoon Helm tiebreaker between Rexbanner and Commander Leonhart. The winner of this race goes on to play Microcorgs in the play-in for a chance to get in the brackets against Infinius. Both these runners are 3-2. Rexbanner won the first match between these two runners, but Commander Leonhart, the only runner to beat Dusty Griff in the group stage, so we should have a good one today. My name is Sheep Launcher. I am here up in the booth with Possum Morpheus, who has already punched his ticket to brackets. He will be in the same quad as the Dragoon Helm runner-up. Possum, what do you think of this matchup tonight?
I think it's a fantastic matchup, Sheep. We have two relatively old hats of the game at this point now. One in Commander Leonhart, who, again, pulled off one of the upsets of the tournament, knocking off Dusty Griff early on in this group stage, and Rexbanner, who now I believe is in his third tournament. In his prior two tournaments, he had a tie at some point in both and has made brackets in both. So Rex looking to be that pillar of consistency. Commander Leonhart looking to, I believe, have his deepest run in a tournament at this point. So excited for this matchup. Both runners are playing well. And we'll see what they can do with a Rydia start, who makes a great anchor, but some of that early power, Bahamut, Leviathan, etc., can really push through some of these objectives. And having Giant of Babel as an objective means even Rydia will probably get nuke.
Yeah, there will be plenty of opportunity to go through a lot of the game. The hook is going to be double required. Trade away the rat tail, launch the falcon. You need the darkness crystal for 3 objectives, so our runners' goals are pretty clear.
Yeah, going to be pretty fantastic objectives and a lot for our runners to do. Now, I see we have 7 primary objectives. I see that we also have a couple other objectives. So, along with this debug room that we're talking about, is this where we get that, 64 floor glitch? And are we going to do Gust of Wind Dance multiple times? Or are we just going to just kind of play a little closer to the vest here? What do you think on the Sheep?
Well, it's fitting that we are playing the Legend of Dragoon Helm because these runners are fighting to get out of the Dragoon Helm. But I always thought the debug room was where all the foos hung out.
Ooh, I like that. Where all the foos hang out. Yeah, I mean they're a huggable, lovable bunch up there, aren't they? Those Fusoyas.
Yes, very much so. But yeah, that Rydia is going to be an interesting starting character. Starts out with 30 HP, and the question is, if you committing to her as an anchor, you're going to have to commit for a long, long time, and no free characters on, so help is not going to come easy. We'll see what our runners want to do. We're underway. We're glad to have you with us.
Yeah, welcome on in, everyone, and welcome to the party, Kane. That is a welcome sight for our runners. Very nice compliment to that Rydia. A big bomb, a couple Bacchus. Those Bacchus can be used kind of in a storm, if you will, needing to just Zerk. Odin, not too much of a threat at Baron 1, but starting with that Baron key could lead to an extra gated character check. Pretty neat for our runners to start with that Baron key, and we'll see where they go from here.
I love when Odin hands us the Baron key to start. He's like, come on back and see me. Anytime. I'll be waiting right here. But yeah, that Kane is a fantastic starting pair for that Rydia. Rexbanner is going to head over to Eblan Castle for the higher tier loot there. Commander Leonhart going to go to Troya for the free key item, see what Edward has in the bed. I do want to thank our restreamer and roller of the seed S-Grunt and our tracker Side Marshal for joining us as well.
Yeah, thank you to the behind the scenes folks, and of course, thank you to our runners, Rexbanner and Commander Leonhart. If you haven't followed them already, please make sure to do so. They are both fantastic streamers of this and other games. And ooh, baby, our runners are going to want to find a hook. Yesterday, in fact, because that is a pigtail already, while Rexbanner also was able to find a crystal ring and a stardust rod, as well as a ribbon. Eblan not disappointing today.
Yeah, also a firebomb, a nice little J item to clear a Hobbs boss or the Antlion Cave.
Yeah,
And
and a
a
lightsaber. Not bad for Commander Leonhart either.
yeah, if that Baron character is Cecil, or if Cecil shows up in an easily accessible gated character location, that lightsaber will help him get online very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And that lightsaber could also just represent money. If it's something where our runner's like, when we find Cecil, we're going to go hunting for holy swords. We don't need a lightsaber. That's a pile of money, and that can buy a lot of things and help our runners on the overworld. Looks like Hand Axe Kane and and a Dream is going to try to go up Eblin, or excuse me, up Hobbs here. We have a Grimoire and a Big Bomb though, so this might be J item and prey on Commander's side, and see what character is up here on Hobbs.
I believe Commander Leonhart also found a Drain Sword in the free treasury. We'll see how committed to the memes he is there.
Being committed to memes is great, but Edward is a meme that requires a special set of commitment. So we're not going to bother with that on Commander's side. Not going to bother with the free summon either. So we're going to have Rex heading over to pick up the free key item, and Commander Leonhart was going to go to Antlion, but is now deciding that he would like to go loot in Watery Pass instead, as he has not done a lot of looting yet.
Yeah, Watery Pass containing a little higher tier loot under this T Wildish flag, hoping to find at least something to upgrade Kane.
Yeah, a fire sword will do just that. A defense sword, that is what you're looking for,
and a curse ring.
Okay. Well, Commander Leonhart is happy. He may be done looting for a little while. Those are two huge pulls coming in from Commander Leonhart.
Yeah, Commander Leonhart's gotta be happy with that. Just what he's looking for, and in fact, he is going straight back to the Antlion Cave.
Yeah, and if we look over at Rex's inventory, there's that rune ring, a crystal ring, a dragoon spear that was just laying around on the floor in Eblin, the stardust rod, and the ribbon. That is a ton of really good stuff for very little time investment that Rex ultimately spent in Eblin. We'll see if that defense sword can help equalize. Commander Leonhart's going to be a bit of a one-trick pony, and that's going to be Kane taking on this Bahamut, whereas Rex is going to have involvement from multiple people here.
What an item shop in Troya. Cabins, Cure 2s, and exits.
Yeah, I think the cabins and the exits are the most important thing. I don't think the Cure 2s are super important because this team is going to be dishing out so much damage early on that they're just going to be crushing through checks.
And Commander Leonhart doesn't even let Bahamut do his counting lesson. Bahamut goes down, and the key item there is a Legend Sword, required.
Yeah, I guess the Fade Antlion cartel is not going to have a great day here. So, it happens. Sometimes the Twin Harp cartel gets you. Sometimes the Fading Antlion cartel gets you. You never know. There's too many things to fade, too many memes to dream.
There are too many special interests trying to dictate how you play in free enterprise.
And looks like, speaking of special interests, Rex is interested in getting that crystal ring and dragoon spear on that Kane, and he is going to be just blitzing his way through these checks. And we are going to get a peek at what the free summon is on Hobbs here. Looks like it is only a bomb. That is not what our runners are looking for. Looks like Commander Leonhart going to join him, so we're going to get high fives with bombs. I don't know if that's advisable at home, folks.
No, bomb, not really what they're looking for. And in fact, Commander Leonhart will reset right out, but Rexbanner has exits to burn, so we'll charge up. Hobbs will likely be leaving Eddie to square off against Eddie's computer problems, just like Commander did.
Well, I do wonder, because Rex has that Stardust Rod, if he won't just jump once with Kane and then go ahead and Stardust Rod. He might have the damage to get through it. We shall see. It does look like Rex is interested in picking up that Eddie, or at least taking this fight for the XP. But I think he has a pretty smooth way through this fight between Jump and Stardust. Should be able to just get through it. The question is, will Rydia get in the queue fast enough with her 4 agility to actually use this Stardust Rod? While Commander's going to Baron in and finds Dark Knight Cecil, this is going to be a little bit of a cause for concern because those waves are true damage, and Kane truly does not have the health to survive.
Yeah, that might hurt a lot. Commander finding out that that spot goes a little bit faster than maybe you anticipate. The second spot in Baron in very slow, but the first spot getting off plenty of turns and too much for his party to withstand at this point.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that first spot has somewhere between 11 and 14 agility. It's actually quite fast for the overworld, which is why things like Val, things like Wyvern are so scary there. It looks like he's going to give this another go. And do we get a jump over? Well, we just flat out kill Dark Knight Cecil, so that'll work. But now let's see what's at the second spot. A Sparkle could be a little bit scary. D-Lunars are very scary. This is trouble for Commander Leonhart. These are going to be some punchy boys here. Rex will have a much better time of this because he has a Crystal Ring for Dragon Defense as well as a Dragoon Spear. So I think that Rex is much better situated to deal with that Baron in. Commander will be in the future once he has some levels, but that is rough for Commander's party currently.
Yeah, Commander trying to seeing the early party advantage, trying to blitz his way through a couple of the early checks. Did get a couple of loot spikes that he thought would give him an advantage, but that Baron in just a little too much to handle without, like you said, the Dragoon Spear, the Crystal Ring, the real panoply of gear that Rexbanner has.
Yeah, but we do see a nice fight here over on Commander's side, where he has a lot of different options for how he wants to take on these guards, and he has chosen violence by way of Grimoire. Unfortunately, Rydia not going to be joining the fight. Mist Summon is really not what you're looking for there. Kane also going to be, dodging some pig rolls. That's good at least. But will he be able to get through this fight? Sadly, again, that Mist Summon, just not what you want.
No, an unfortunate Grimoire roll. But, Commander really looking for Rydia to help join him. Rexbanner on the Bag of Hobbs, by the way, found a Sylph summon for that Rydia. So Rex has a really has a Rydia that's really ready to join the fight.
Yeah, and I do wonder even if we will end up seeing the Crystal Ring go on that Rydia so that she can Sylph faster and do damage that way, as opposed to that Crystal Ring being on that Kane. But it looks like we get some life potions, some silk webs, some Thor rages, lots of good stuff here in the Fabul shop as well. And while I was looking at the shop, I missed a key item.
It was a black belt, so the king's taking karate lessons, I suppose. But did you notice that that Rex bought a dwarf axe for that Kane in order to finance that, sold the Sylph?
Well, I mean, one of those options is long term. And in Rex's mind, that Kane is going to be his early, his middle game, and possibly his late game if he's investing that heavy. Sylph dramatically falls off in the mid game, even more so than Kane. Both of these characters, they fall off, but Kane less so. Rydia, you also hope to just find Leviathan or Bahamut, or just get her to nuke, or find a party member who more suits the Berserkers that you'd normally end up with on this this flag set. So I definitely understand it. And the Stardust route as well, to be frank, is probably just quicker and better than Sylph for a lot of these overworld checks, and she is just a vessel, and a very good one for it.
Yeah, it's always nice to have a white mage approximation, but it's certainly not required in the overworld with this party. Especially, there were Cure 2s available if you really want someone to toss them around. So, Rexbanner figuring the orb more useful to him as part of a down payment on a dwarf axe.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do see a free fight up on Ordeals. This is kind of an awkward spot to find King Queen Eblin because this is the least punchy or one of the least punchy spots in the game. So you would want to find like an evil wall or an Ogopogo here, ideally. So a little bit awkward to see this boss. Our runners are not going to be thrilled to see it here, but King Queen Eblin will be, I guess, out of the way. As we have Rex heading back over to Eblin, I wonder if we're going to get some trap chest hunting now.
Yeah, I didn't see if he picked up any particular items that would be useful in trap chests, but he did leave half of Eblin unlooted, it looks like.
Yeah, looks like some black cats and lamias are on the menu here. These hit a lot harder than you may otherwise think, and Stardust is risky because if it deals less than 600 to these cats, they counter with Bluster. That did 497. Bluster missed. That's good.
Yeah, that was a nice Bluster dodge.
And welcome to our friends from Free Enterprise 2. We are about 15 minutes into a race between Rexbanner and Commander Leonhart. So far, about even on progression. We have Rexbanner going around in Castle Eblin trying to find some really high-tier loot, and we have Commander Leonhart progressing on Ordeals at the back attack with a very nasty plague here. One last reminder, of course, for the folks coming over from Free Enterprise 2, please no spoilers, because we do not want to be spoiled on your race.
Yeah, both of our runners are in this tiebreaker. The winner goes to face Microcords for the play-in to get into the brackets to face Infinius. We started with a Baron Key and a Iridia and a Dream. And was that another ribbon in the Chocobo Forest?
I think that's 3 ribbons for Rexbanner now.
Wow.
I think he should start, what is it, a haberdashery? I believe is the term for it. I haven't bought many fancy hats in my life, but I believe that is the term for it.
Oh, you don't have a haberdasher?
I do not. I'm a possum. We're not normally known for our hats. Although my cousin Millie, she has a fantastic hat. Y'all should see her. She's adorable.
I'm hoping your next trash can has a place to hang more hats for you.
That would be a good addition instead of just a place for garbage juice and a seat or 2 for friends. But meanwhile, Commander Leonhart threw that plague.
Yep, at the second time of asking, throws the sparkle down the canyon, which is very cinematic, I think.
Can you wish upon that? And like, do you have that wish come true?
Well,
because you're supposed to wish upon a fallen star, right? That's how that works.
Well, I'm sure Commander Leonhart wishing for a hook here. We'll see if that wish comes true for him.
Yeah, probably wishing for a hook or maybe an Avenger. Probably not wishing for a life staff. Although Rydia can use that.
Yes, until she grows up, right?
Well, if you never take it off of her, then she can continue to use it after she grows up.
I know a few friends who are like that with stuffed animals, so I understand.
Hey, that's how I am with blankets.
The elements in the changing room, not a big deal. Commander Leonhart will complete it in case he runs into a Tella or a Cecil down the road.
Yeah, and this plague is going to prove a little dicey, I think, for Rex as well. For both of our runners being fast anchored here, this is a very difficult fight to get through when you're fast anchored. Um, you need to be your first input has to be a kamikaze in that case. Your second input has to be a life potion, and there is just no way around it. So Plague so far claiming our runners once a piece, and we'll hope that Rex can get through it the second time as well.
Yeah, Rex will have to do the King Queen Evelyn fight again. It's not so much difficult as it is maybe emotionally fraught.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Definitely something you don't want to have to deal with, and no one likes wiping, to any boss, especially an early one. But for our runners, they also understand back attack Plague stinks. Everyone struggles with it. It's just a rough time.
So that Baron Inn contains, it could contain our way forward one way or the other, but the only two checks left are in the Baron Town and in the Baron Castle. Before one of those has to contain our way underground, or at least a way to get there.
All right, hear me out. We have the hook, which comes from Baron Inn, and Kainazzo is on the hook route. But there's a Magma Key and Baron basement behind Ogopogo.
Oh my goodness.
Just for some fun.
Now, is that possible? It's not supposed to be possible.
Yeah, it's possible, because that would just make the hook the logical underground route.
Yeah. Kainazzo isn't one of the gating bosses.
Nope.
Kainazzo is very tough in the in the King Queen Evelyn or in the Rubicante spot, but it's not one of the bosses that's so unfair that it cannot guard your way underground logically. Exactly.
And we do see Rex is through on his second attempt for that Plague. So yeah, well done to Rex, well done to Commander, both getting through what is widely regarded as one of the most awkward bosses to fight at the back attack spot.
And Commander trying those D-Lunars again and again. Those D-Lunars hit hard in that spot, and there are two of them, so the slowness of it is mitigated a little bit.
Yeah, part of the issue there was Commander went in with that Cursed Ring on Rydia, which means that he was speeding up the D-Lunars to match his Kayn, whereas Kayn would normally be 2 to 3 times faster than those D-Lunars. So gonna go back in and attempt this with a little bit better agility setup so that he's able to survive some more turns. Also, speaking of surviving, Rydia, 2 health, able to get through that DKC, which is nice because that gives Commander an extra hit where he's able to have Kayn, not fall over and maybe even get this big bomb off. Nope, no big bomb. That's unfortunate. But maybe Kayn can jump his way to victory here.
Yeah, gonna give it a shot, and actually gonna have Kayn throw that big bomb.
Yeah, one of the nice things there is Rydia perished so quickly that she didn't actually get in the queue to use that big bomb. Now, we might need to see a cure come out on this Kayn. Yeah, that was unfortunate. Big roll of 200 there to a Kayn that had been taking like 60 to 80 damage. So that D-Lunar not being friendly. This is one of the issues with, and not to say the Commander's made any poor choices here, but not taking that Edward means he just frankly has one less body. So Rex is going to have an advantage just in numbers here, not to mention also in gear with that Crystal Ring and Dragoon Lance. So what Ground Commander was able to create space-wise and a lead for himself is quickly going to evaporate here due to no fault of his own, just kind of rando gonna rando at this point.
Yeah, gonna have a little bit more HP on that Rydia, but the hit that took Rydia down in the last fight was 440, so an extra 80 HP not really going to make a big difference.
Yeah, that big bomb comes out first, though, which means these D-Lunars rolled slow, which is good for Commander. So this spot has variable agility. It's 4 to 7. The first spot is 11 to 14, I think. So battle speed 3 here, plus the overall slowness of the spot, rolling low as well. I think Commander should be through here. that jump should do it. So Rydia is going to survive with 8 health, and we see 3,900 from Kane on Rex's side.
That's a power of a Dragoon Spear for you.
Yeah, big numbers there, and there is the Magma Key, so no wild hook reps today.
But Commander does get a Tela as well, and Rexbanner will be right behind.
Yeah, so Rex is going to be, about 30 seconds behind here, a little less, is going to have a fairly significant gear advantage, and that third party member, again, Edward's not contributing anything except as human blink, as morbid as that sounds. He's just an extra person to get punched and not have your viable characters who are dealing damage have to worry.
Yeah, Edward, like all of us, is just a Ziploc bag full of pudding.
That's one way to put it.
Ooh, samurai arrows for sale in the Baron Weapon Shop. Rexbanner gonna pick up a whole bunch of them. Maybe wants to turn that eddy. We found a great bow, maybe some other kind of. Where'd that crystal sword come from?
That was from an Eblin trap chest that Rex did. So he has that crystal sword waiting in tow. It's not particularly relevant yet. Obviously, should there be a Cecil floating around in Baron, it becomes incredibly relevant. Or if there's a Cecil in Dwarf, or literally anywhere that's not the Giant, that crystal sword becomes relevant. But it's not the biggest deal yet. And maybe we'll get some sort of flex from Rex, and he'll just sell it.
I was going to say, Rex still a little intimidated by the seed, it looks like. Maybe the seed too much for him, because he has not established his dominance over it yet by selling that crystal sword.
Yeah, that is true. No selling of the crystal sword yet. And what was that, a scientific photographer? I saw the end of it. There we go. Reading is hard. This is not a possum strong suit, let me tell you. Sheep are apparently far better than possums at reading.
Coffins and Ethers for sale in Tamra. And if one of the other underground shops has sirens for sale, a couple sirens, a couple coffins can get this party much more well-equipped in a hurry.
Yeah, and especially finding that Leviathan summon for Commander Leonhart, that is a huge spike in power to get effectively Quake Plus on his Rydia. Just needs a few levels to get her some MP, and will easily be able to carry on from there. While we see Tela flexing on that Odin for 7,500 lit 3 damage. Bye-bye.
And that Odin sword wasn't even up yet. Really great to see. And there's a ninja hat and a crystal helm in the Baron sub-treasury.
Ooh, and a mute knife on Commander Leonhart's side. Mute knives have been one of the unsung MVPs, and I guess we'll just find Darkness Crystal laying around. That's cool. That opens up, Cave Bahamut, the Giant, and the White Spear Altar. So yeah, that's a neat thing that just happened for free.
Yeah, Darkness is really hiding the yearning, and Commander's going to use that Soma drop not on Kane, but on Tela to get Tela to an even 100 MP.
Well, we all make mistakes. It's okay. I'm sure that was just a mismenu. We all know that Kane needs that 10 MP. And, maybe we'll see Commander go back and buy that second Soma drop. We're not going to hold it against him. It's race nerves. You mean to target Kane with that Soma drop and you accidentally put it on Tela. We've all been there and done that. Is anyone
Meanwhile,
that?
Rex dealing with the triumvirate of Dark Imps who have taken the throne.
Yeah, those Dark Imps not going to have a good day. That Stardust Rod just going to continue to ruin those Dark Imps. Speaking of being ruined, that is a Fey March that was, gross and also gross. Golbez, potentially doable, but would cost a lot of time and resources. So yeah, Commander says no to both. And we also find an edge here in Baron Castle. I'll spare everyone the, oh, hey, Rex has an edge now. Yeah, no, whatever. But this
You
is a
didn't actually
ninja.
spare us.
I know, that was the point. This is the the second Zerker that Rex is probably looking for. Can go to town with this cane, can go with this edge, eventually replace with a Cecil, especially with that crystal sword, and kind of carry on with his day in that traditional Zerker stance, if you will, that we love for this flag set.
Yeah, we haven't seen any top tier Edge weapons yet, but Edge certainly can hold his own in most of the checks that are open to us right now.
What about that ninja star we got from the trash can? It's
Well,
my
that's
favorite check, but I don't think that was the top tier edge weapon we were looking for.
it's a mid tier one use weapon. That's almost the same.
It's basically a Masamune, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay,
of
perfect.
course. Yeah. Yeah, the other fight down in the Baymarch, Mylon Z, will be doable later, but right now that spot is punchy and quick in the queen spot, and Commander ducking out of that as well.
So I think that Mylon Z, as we now see Forge for Commander Leonhart, that is the Adamant Rock completing objective number 1 for Commander when he chooses to go Forge. I think that Mylon Z is doable for Rex. If I'm not mistaken, I think Crystal Ring also gives undead resist, or it might just be Dragon, I'm not certain. But with the Dragoon Spear, he's going to deal a ton of damage since it'll be flying. If he can maintain relative agility 1, he'll get a lot of hits in. But regardless, a backroad Cane with a Crystal Ring might be able to stand up to that Mylon Z, and Rex may be able to take the Feymarch in one fell swoop. Tough to say, and we'll have to see where it goes. But meanwhile, Commander Leonhart getting a little spicy here. Gonna go play on the moon. Maybe this is just a character in shop check, but might be looking for more.
And he might want to go into Cave Bahamut, do just a little bit more looting, see if there's a boss in Cave Value that he can take care of right now. But certainly a character in shop check when you get the Darkness Crystal, even if you can't take on the rest of the Lunar Subterrane, it's worth the time sink.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a peek, as you said. Information can be power. And if there's like a water hack, for example, or a set of guards, something like that in Cave Bahamut, it's definitely worth a peek. And if you have a siren and an hourglass, you might even consider popping an egg, and not an egg, but popping a siren there and getting 60,000 XP or 90,000 with a life glitch.
Yeah, the Gold Dragons do give 90,000 XP if you have. If you were able to life glitch one of them. I don't know, and sirens are for sale on the moon.
Yeah,
Commander's interested.
Yeah, I would be very interested as well. Picking up as many as he can afford right now, which is 3, but 3 is a lot early on, especially if you hit some warlocks or some gold dragons, even eggs underground. That represents 100,000 XP. That's a lot. That's the majority of the levels you need for the mid game. And Commander going to give us a peek at the Lunar Deus character while Rex is going back into Eblin. Going to go play a little bit more with the trap chest here, maybe trying to find something for this edge now.
This is Rex's third trip back to Eblin Castle. One of the themes, I think, of the group stage has kind of been to be as efficient as you can, and in your routing decisions. Do you like Rex coming back to Eblin Castle for the third time?
I mean, I feel like that's a loaded question. My answer, of course, is no. But if it pays out, it pays out. And that's one of the things about Eblin on this flag set is the goods are just so heavily weighted to be in your favor that, like, even Artemis arrows, while not great, it's still a tier 7 item that can have some long-term use. A little bit less so with a Dragoon Spear already, but if you find a Cecil, that can give you a second line on dragon killing, and it can actually be more effective than a crystal sword. But we'll see what Rex opts to do, and it looks like he is going to take out the rest of the chests here, including the third monster box. So crystal sword, Artemis arrows, and one to be determined reward.
Did get a Dragoon Helm from Castle Evelyn, so that particular mode is engaged. Commander did get a Monk on the Moon, did rescue Yang from the Lunar Purgatory, did not check Cape Bahamut, instead is going to go back underground with those sirens, has coffins, doesn't have hourglasses, so the egg grind is going to be a little bit safer for him.
Yeah, going to be able to take care of at least a couple of these eggs. And I certainly like this play, especially with Rydia having Leviathan. This will get her a bunch of MP, so she can kind of chain cast Leviathans and act really as a primary DPS here. And looks like we're going to get weak casts. This is a really great way to make the eggs very vulnerable. It'll set their HP to 1 to 9, and you can just kind of bop them from there. A Lunar Staff out of a Trap Chest in Eblin. I think that's like a 5% chance to get a tier 5 item out of Trap Chest in Eblin, so I guess that's kind of winning the lottery, but in reverse for Rex.
Commander letting Rydia hit things rather than just using coffins. And Rex is going underground and going to check out Dwarf Castle first. You have to think that Rex just wants to sweep through as much of the underground as he can.
Well, I think part of it also is Rex, it seems like, is prioritizing, and rightfully so, character checks, because he found the shiny thing for the guy. And as soon as he finds Cecil, he's going to get a power spike like no other in this or any flag set. Crystal Sword Cecil, that is life, and that is truth, and that is what this flag set is all about. So I think Rex is making the play based on what he's found in Eblin, whereas Commander is making the play based on just what he's found in his travels in general. So you kind of see this meta-defining and meta-warping play based on that one piece of loot, that Crystal Sword alone.
And the dwarves certainly having a party. Bacchus wines for sale in Dwarf Castle. Interesting that Rex hasn't sold that Asura summon yet.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have a true technical white mage yet, so maybe thinking I have to go with Rydia as my white mage. We do see this is going to be Ruby, because if it were elements, it would show up with a Dark Imp robe here. So Ruby is a little bit awkward here because the glare is 100% going to wipe people out. The punches are much punchier than you'd expect. It's not a fight that Rex is going to die to, but there will almost certainly be casualties here. While we do have Commander Leonhart making the play to go to Eblin now also, and going to get his Crystal Sword, his Artemis arrows, and his Lunar Staff.
Yeah, this leg will be punchy. Like you said, Possum will take down some folks, maybe not fatal to the party, but could be very annoying depending on who the second boss is.
Yeah.
But 100% leg down here after we saw 25% leg in the changing room on top of Ordeals. And Commander Leonhart going to Leviathan his way through Evelyn.
Yeah, one way to not get blustered by those annoying cats is to just cast Leviathan and wipe them out. Speaking of Leviathan, there's Leviathan at Dwarf 2, and there's a, it started with C, but it's just a Sid.
It's a Sid Soul.
That means what? We have Package, Hook, Giant, Sandruby. Oh, and Za. So we still have about a half dozen character checks left, but not what Rex wanted to see since he's been on a Cecil hunt.
Yeah, really a kind of Zerker-heavy set. We haven't seen either twin yet. We haven't seen Rosa. We haven't seen Fu. So we have about a half dozen spots to check. This Leviathan will become sushi soon enough. The Ice 2 is doing nothing. This spot has very low magic attack.
Yeah, the vanilla Golbez spot was designed in the game so that, you had a way through it. Leviathan not going to be scary whatsoever. You get a punchy boss here, and that's another story. Dark Imps, Evil Wall, things like that can actually be kind of sketchy at that Dwarf Castle 2 spot, but Rex going to be no worse for the wear after that fight, and going to continue on. I do think Commander, for what it's worth, after having his struggles with Baron in 2, has recovered incredibly nicely, and is making very quick progress, especially because of that investment in Rydia's future with the Leviathan, having that Stardust Rod now, a black shirt, a nice ring on her accessory slot. So, like, really, able to get that Rydia to do some work here. And a Twin Harp coming out of Dwarf Castle. I, for one, say fade Twin Harp. Never go there. It's a horrible, terrible place, even though it probably has value every seed.
Yeah, with so many 17 out of 17 seeds, there haven't been many times where you've been able to fade Twin Harp and get away with it, but, I understand you have an image to uphold.
Yes, an image indeed. Speaking of images, there's Stone coming out from Tella. Yeah, very well done from the old man. Take care of him, he'll take care of you. And Commander through that right side of the tower, while Rex is now dipping into Feymarch and will soon get his Darkness Crystal once he has done a little bit of looting here.
Now, I believe Commander did visit Yong in the Sylph Cave, but has not checked Sheila yet.
I think he got the Adamant Rock from Sheila. So
you're right.
Yeah, I think he did that. He completed that chain, but has not gone through and actually forged yet. So that is one of the interesting things. Even if our runners hadn't gotten that Crystal Sword, they would be, still getting a very early Excal. I know that Crystal Sword's the ultimate in crunchiness, but an Excal is still pretty dang good. Obviously, no Cecil yet, so it would only serve as a dart as that Excal. But there isn't even an edge on Commander's side, as he has not done Baron Castle yet.
Rexbanner, it did find a black shirt, which that Rydia can certainly use. And no objectives completed yet. We figured the objectives would take a little bit of time, 3 of them involving the Darkness Crystal, 2 of them involving a hook, which with the early Magma Key could be just about anywhere. But it is a little bit surprising that the buttons have still gone unpressed so far.
Well, and when they need to get pressed, I will I'll wipe them down and hand them over to our tracker, who is doing a fantastic job of lighting up the key items, even if there aren't any objectives that are completed yet. So thank you to Scythe Marshall for dealing with my shenanigans, and of course to Esgrunt behind the scenes doing a great job. And Sheep Launcher, always a pleasure to do comms with you, my friend.
And always a pleasure, Possum, even though you ruined the S symmetry we all had.
I mean, I could be Sposimorpheus if you want. That could be a thing. I'm open to suggestions.
Nothing happened on Rex's side, but plenty has been happening in this race. We have seen a couple of setbacks for each runner, but I don't think either of them has a particular reason to feel too far behind at this point.
Yeah, I think we're on relatively even footing. Both the runners have played pretty close to the vest as far as this flag set's concerned. No real huge risks being taken. No one opting to go after Golbez in the Feymarch, which is effectively a free fight with enough Star Veils and time. So again, both runners kind of playing very conservatively, which tends to work on average because you struggle less, you get through more and more efficiently. but we shall see where they progress from here. I do wonder on Rex's side, having just done this loop through Sheila and getting that adamant, while damaged from those damage tiles in the Sylph Cave, if he heads over to Twin Harp right now while already weakened, it would seem to be a very good time to do it, but we'll see if Rex agrees or not. I do see him heading Troy away, but nope, he turns around and says, let's go back underground. I would like to forge.
Yeah, Rex taking the old adage, do your objectives, quite literally going to go directly to Kokel's shop and Kokel's forge, and the shop might even have something interesting for him there.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what the best thing would be for his party right now. I guess Zeus gauntlets or power shirts at this time would probably be the best. I think Murasame's would be too expensive to afford. But I'm curious to see what he goes with in this situation, if anything. I would be very surprised if we don't get a shop peek at all. But we do have crystal rings, Stardust rods, protect rings. Not really the shop you want. Maybe Commander Leonhart picks up a crystal ring there, not having one already, but I think that's pretty much a dud shop for Rex, since he already has a crystal ring and a Stardust rod.
Yeah, and I believe Commander now has a crystal ring of his own because he did go to Evelyn Castle. But
that's true.
But yeah, that shop showing us nothing we haven't seen already.
Yeah, and we have our runners retracing each other's steps. Huge shout outs again to them for putting on a great show for us this afternoon or evening or morning, wherever you are. Make sure to give them a follow. You will be seeing one of them facing off against Microkorgs for the second place play-in race wow, I need to say that 5 times fast. Second place play-in race against Microkorgs for this Dragoon Helm group. That will be happening sometime soon, TM. But first they have to take care of business here. But again, both are extraordinarily fun runners to watch. Give them both a follow and see what they do on the regular basis. And we have now Rexbanner going to the moon, going to see if he wants to buy some sirens, continuing to fade Harp. I appreciate that from Rexbanner. Not sure if it's correct or not for this flag set or this particular seed, but I appreciate his dedication to it.
Yeah, the winner of this faces Microkorgs for a chance to square off against Infinius in the brackets. The winner of that particular race, by the way, gets the winner of the Possum Morpheus match.
Yeah, I mean, that guy's no good at this game, though. I wouldn't be worried about him at all. He's only played like 3 bracket seeds, and he's averaging like an hour and 55, so, not exactly high performance right now.
Sure, Jan. Commander not going to take on that throne.
Yeah, I don't blame him. Mom Bomb there is gross, not just because of how hard it hits, but also the explosion. Oh boy, that explosion at the Odin spot is scary. It's going to be like 400 to 600 damage there.
Yeah, that Odin spot has a ton of HP, which is even if you can hack away at Mom Bomb for a little bit, the explode is still going to have enough HP to really pack a punch. Commander decides discretion is the better part of valor.
Yeah, I think both runners making the absolute correct play there. It's the age-old mantra of can I versus should I? And can you? Probably. Just like with Golbez, can you? Probably, yes. You'll get through it. Should you? Probably not. Because ultimately, this is about getting through checks fast, not just getting through checks. We are going to get a new piece of information here, though, as Rexbanner is heading over to Cave Bahamut. So while Commander Leonhart is doing battle in Dwarf Castle, Rex is going to play around on the moon a little bit here and see if he can get through Cave Bahamut, or at least give us some information on it. I do wonder if he ultimately ends up back on Earth after this, and maybe goes the route of Twin Harp and or Keyless Tower, as those are our two air quote easy checks remaining. But a lot of very difficult or very time consuming fights are awaiting our runners at this point.
Yeah, we have seen a couple of free bosses, so there are only maybe Kaipo guards left and Water Hag among the quote unquote free bosses. And there are a lot of bosses up here that could give a lot of concern. Baigen, Kainatsu, those kinds of bosses. An Ashura at Cave Bahamut will be very interesting.
Yeah, you mentioned Baigen in particular. Baigen at Cave Value, Evil Wall at Cave Value, those are just pure nightmare fuel. Even with Adamant armors, if your character is not in the back row, you will be taking damage. Well, there's your Sura. That is 37,000 HP of do not want in my life. Rex may opt for some gold dragons here. I don't know if he has the hourglasses for them, but I don't think that's an Asura fight you really want to be playing with at this time. We have the Sirens. Might just be jumping here or weaking.
So the good thing that Rex has in his setup is that edge has a mute knife, and that mute knife will do quite a bit of damage against Ashura, who is a mage type.
Yeah, the issue though is on the back end of it. Also, that was so rude by the King Ryu's double blitzing edge and just watching him fall over. The issue with that Asura is at that spot, Asura hits so flippin' hard. Like, it is tied for maximum damage for physical attack in the game. Meanwhile, Rex is going to get through these dragons, but his tele-anchoring might be a little messed up after this, and he's not going to get the XP on Rydia. So I don't know that that went particularly as planned for Rex. He gets some levels, but I wonder if we might just see him exit out of here and kind of live to fight another day. Maybe try that Asura afterwards. No, we're going to get some more dragons here. It looks like we do have a curse ring for Rex according to chat. So it looks like both runners have a curse ring then.
Yeah, Rex did not go where Commander found his curse ring in the Watery Pass, but he could have picked up one elsewhere.
And looks like we get the Asura summon coming out here. But meanwhile, Commander Leonhart doing the play that I think this is much more in line with the conservative route, which is doing the Twin Harp check. It is a K-main check. It is more likely to be weighted to have key items. So I like this play from Commander Leonhart. Rex getting his levels now is great, but these gold dragons are particularly pesky as well, and very difficult to do without, hourglasses and such like that. So taking a bit of time, maybe he's able to get through this and then do Asura. But I do think I like Commander's play here a little bit better. Again, not to say there's a wrong play here. I just like this one a little more.
Yeah, and Commander was able to use those sirens to do a fight in eggs that have less XP per fight, but was able to get through them with much less heartburn and maybe a little faster.
Yeah, absolutely. The Leviathan summon for Commander really, again, investing in that Rydia, paying dividends for him. We see a coffin coming out. What is
but,
it?
Did not work. I think that Rydia has the ribbon.
Yeah, you can't coffin someone wearing a ribbon or an adamant armor. Been there, done that.
All right, well, Edward is going to save the day like he should all the time.
Enjoy, y'all. Escrunt? That's mean.
That's
Why
real
would you
mean.
do that to our runners?
That
Uh,
is
I,
real mean. That is uh, uh, our restreamer S Grunt really wants to hear that harp a bunch of times. That is a really rude wyvern.
yeah, that's not nice.
I mean, that harp
Yeah.
theme, it really made me want to run through a brick wall, but you can't really run through those blargs.
Yeah, speaking of getting run through, Asura just ran through Rex's party. This is part of the fear of doing this, is that even in a situation where you've grinded, again, that Asura just hits so dang hard. It's it's just not a fight for the faint of heart, and Rex does take that wipe there and is going to head back down to the blue planet. Certainly has the levels to take on a lot of things now, having gained 120,000 in the way of XP, but that is a pretty rough fight to find there. Meanwhile, Commander Leonhart is now going to take the safety save inside the cave, knowing that there is a wyvern there, going to drop it down to wyvern standard time on the battle speed, and off we go for attempt number 2. So again, both runners making the necessary adjustments when they are encountering some troubles. And looks like we may be getting dual music here. And we'll see if Rexbanner is able to survive the Wyvern's Den as S-Grunt has so nicely laid out for them.
Yeah, we'll see if how Rex is feeling, because getting wiped out to a Sura like that can really make you think that that you're a little bit behind, leave you licking your wounds a little bit, and meeting a surprise wyvern in the cave can only intensify that.
Yeah, and thankfully, though, we do see Rex saving outside, so he will at least be close if he does wipe here, but will not be adjusting battle speed. Probably will not be doing any of those changes, but may, if he has the right anchoring, just be fast enough to get through this, regardless if his quick twitch muscles are working today. But let's hear some more of this Seventh Saga music from Commander Leonhardt's side.
Sure, why not?
Uh, Escrant, friend, why you do this? That's a twin harp with a white shirt. So what is it? Escrant at the twin harp with a white shirt, something like that. And we're going to play Clue now. That was not pleasant for our runners. Very well done by Rex to just absolutely smash that Cave Magnus. The fast anchoring, able to just overwhelm, and the Dragoon Spear resets right out, says, I do not want anything to do with this, and carries on. Not the reward that our runners want. Commander Leonhart going to keep that white shirt, though, saying, I fought hard for this, I want that white shirt.
You would think you'd appreciate a restreamer who only wants to make you look smart. Possum said Fade Harp. Did the runners listen? No.
Well, the runners are both men of the people, so they will do what they will do, and they want to put on a good show. Who am I to judge putting on a good show?
Well, speaking of putting on a good show, it's looking like another instance of divergence here where Rex going back into the underground, going to try to take on that Golbez and Mylon Z. Meanwhile, Commander to the moon.
Yeah, looks like Rex said, I'm good on this moon. I would like to go play on Earth. Commander has not seen what is in Cave Bahamut yet, and as soon as he does, may also say something to the effect of, I would too like to go play on the Feymarch instead of on this moon. We shall see, but the number of checks remaining are dwindling. So, yeah, Feymarch, Keyless Tower, and the moon are going to be the remaining checks at this point.
I mean, Keyless Tower is the correct play 100% of the time, but our runners not taking that. So the Dragoon Helm in the game hides the beautiful blonde locks of Kane, and Commander Leonhart, knowing this, decides hair dryers are the play.
Yeah, I mean, this is a splashy play at some potential XP. I think it's 30,600, and also a splashy play at a potential high-value item, such as a Bahamut summon for that Rydia. Meanwhile, Rex is able to get through Mylon Z and gets exactly Artemis arrows. So I guess we're going to continue not finding key items and having to struggle through awkward and awful checks.
And now we have to suffer through the worst indignity of all, Golbez's comedy set.
I mean, it's not the worst comedy set. I would rather listen to Golbez do comedy than, let's say, Dr. Lugay.
Yeah, Dr. Lugay thinks he's doing a TED Talk. Is his problem.
That's fair. I mean, I just know that, like, Lugay's comedy routine is so bad, his own robot punches him. Like, Golbez's snake still, like, goes after your party. I don't know. I would rather listen to Golbez.
Yeah, you know how you can tell Golbez is a skilled comedian?
How's that?
Act absolutely kills. Commander going to take on that Ashura. Does have a Mute Knife Edge, but Ashura here, got to get those blinks up. I don't know if that Edge has image yet. I don't think illusions we've seen illusions for sale anywhere. So that Tele with Blink going to be working overtime.
Yeah, Blink going to be very key here. We'll also likely see a wall come out from that Tele to get a wall up on Asura so that she does not heal or heals less. But yeah, as far as this fight is concerned, I do hope there's a Mute Knife somewhere in here for Commander Leonhart. I know that Rex has one, but a Mute Knife would certainly make this a lot easier, especially for an Edge.
Rex, meanwhile, came into the Golbez fight with two characters already down, so was able to survive Shadow, get the wall up on Edge. This Golbez will not last long, and soon will be asking the only question he can ask.
Why? And it also looks like Commander Leonhart, in addition to going the Mute Knife route, is going to choose the way of the dragon and cast some Bahamets here as well. So we'll see if Commander has better luck getting through this Asura than Rex did. Meanwhile, Golbez is down on Rex's side. Let us see what the King of Comedy has for our runners today. And it looks like we have just a package, and that is not required. If it is, however, a Cecil, that could be a game changer for Rex.
Yeah, there is precisely one character that Rex would check that package for and sit through that package cutscene for, and he has a nice little crystal sword for him. If it's anybody else, it's a quick reset.
Do you sit through the package for a Fusoya here?
I don't. Personally, Fusoya not worth the time to me. I've already got a Fusoya Junior in my party. At least Commander has invested a little bit into that Tela. That Tela would make a better anchor, has the same spells except for nuke. So no, I don't sit through for a Fu, but I definitely don't sit through for a Duke Tela. But
hey,
there might be a reason that I finished 0-6 in the group stage.
Well, I mean, part of that also, your group was very difficult. That can't be understated. Also, I do like Rex's play here of resetting, leaving that save scum outside of Keyless Tower, while Commander Leonhart does get through that Asura and is rewarded with a Pan. So not directly progression, but I feel like we are running out of potential options for where things can be. So almost certainly that Pan is going to have some value. It also puts Commander Leonhart now at 8 key items with a pretty direct line on 10, should that Pan start to pay out with some goods.
So Commander Leonhart checks off his first objective at 1 hour and 4 minutes, and you could make the argument that he's in the lead right now.
Yeah, given that Feymarch was effectively a bust, I think Commander Leonhart is in the lead. He is up a lunar objective. So yeah, Leonhart definitely ahead. That Bahamut summon going to keep paying dividends from the hairdryer chest. My personal favorite of the group stage. Not biased at all, having pulled 2 adamant armors from there. But the plays that Commander has been making, he was definitely behind a little bit early on, and is, I think, definitely in the lead now. Is coming back to the blue planet, though, after completing that Cave Bahamut, and I assume this has to be for the Pan checks based on where he's flying, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, 2 key item checks. Sheila's already paid out once. While he's in the neighborhood, he might want to forge. But that is a blue robe for Rexbanner at the top of tower. Could be Water Hag. Could be a Gauntlet.
I personally am hoping for Water Hag so that we have a alt Gauntlet at the Masamune spot. So we do have a free boss up here on Keyless Tower. So chat always likes to say Keyless Tower is always the answer. And I believe you yourself believe in that mantra too, Sheep. So we shall see. Yeah, we shall see if it is. Well, there's a Masa on Commander's side. I don't believe he has. Oh, no, he does have the edge. Of course he does now. So a Masa is nice, but not progression.
No, but that edge on Commander's side was rocking a Mute Knife Ice Claw combo. Will certainly upgrade that claw.
Well, I don't know. Ice Claw is pretty good. I don't know if Amasa's that much better.
I don't understand why you can't wear both. I really don't.
Oh, okay. Well, so Chad just called this Fiery Blizzard. Shout out to you. Especially when this turns into Tower Key. There we go. Turned into Tower Key. Keyless Tower leading to Tower Key. Super Cannon not an objective, so this may not yet pay out, but well called from chat.
Feel it too. Also not progression. A White Spear for Kane. So if Kane needs another way to vanquish that Mylon Z in the Feymarch, he has it.
Yeah, and
this is not vanilla. Antlion not on the moon.
Yeah, exactly. Endlion not in its natural habitat today. However, if this super cannon pays out in a key item, that does put Rex at 10 because he is currently at 9. I can do math, y'all.
Whoa.
So getting to 10 key items, having sirens available, Rex could grind and then really do a number on the moon. And maybe that is his play right now is he's just doing everything he can on the blue planet to get to his grind to then go to the moon and complete all his checks. Which, if he gets a 10th key item here, will have absolutely worked out in his favor.
Commander leaving the underground again, meanwhile, without doing Forge. That's the second time he's left the underground without doing Forge. He knows he has to go back down there at least one more time because he has to launch the Falcon, and he's most likely waiting for that to get everything turned in.
Yeah, he also has Sealed Cave that he's going to have to do at some point. So there may be at least one, maybe two more trips down to the underworld. For our runners, they're just being sent all over the place on some very wild goose chases on the sea. But we are getting a lunar subterranean dive from Commander Leonhart now, going to show us what is at the bottom of the moon and just an X-Scout from the super cannon. So Rexbanner coming up shy on that 10th key item. Gets a dart, but that is really not what he's looking for at this stage. 10th key item would have been, any 10th key item would have been the best scenario for him.
You know, Keyless Tower, even though it works 100% of the time, sometimes it doesn't work out.
Yeah, the Keyless Tower play led to the tower key, but with it not being an objective, that just means that it was a waste of time, and Rex is undoubtedly going to feel behind now, having cleared the Fey March, having cleared Keyless Tower, probably not feeling the greatest. Looking at 2 X-Scals, looking at a Crystal Sword, a Lightsaber, looking at everything you could ever want for a Cecil, and Cecil just not appearing.
Yeah, Cecil really... The Seed has been far too generous with Cecil weapons, which should have led us to believe that something was up. And Cecil missing his dinner reservation on this Saturday night. Restaurants hate that.
So, I don't know if you saw that, Sheep. That was 21 Drain Spears purchased at 12,000 apiece. That is the largest Drain Spear purchase that I have seen on the group stage flag set. Normally you see like a high number of Bacchus wines purchased and things like that, or ninja swords, but that was a ton of Drain Spears. Oddly enough, going to come in and help Rex quite a bit against this Demus that Commander's run into.
Yeah, those Drain Spears, in case you don't know, Drain Spears have a very high attack power, which is all that darts care about. So they have low accuracy, which is why they are not great weapons, and they decrease some of your other stats, which is why it's not a great weapon to equip on a Cane, but they have very high attack power, so Edge loves to throw them at things.
Yeah, they make for great darts. And Rex does still have that Baron basement. I completely forgot about that nasty Mom Bomb. So Rex does have one more chance at a 10th key item before leaving the blue planet. And the darts will also help against this Mom Bomb.
Yeah, this is a great commitment to the bit. Rex wanting to prize efficiency as much as he can, even though this Seed has kind of forced our runners to kind of go all over the place. It can be really easy to start feeling behind if you're wasting too much time traveling from here to there.
Yeah, and shout-outs to Tella missing a life cast on Commander Leonhart's side, really messing up this fight that he's currently working on. That Demist is doing a bit of trolling, bopping Rydia repeatedly, and yeah, it's not going particularly well for Commander Leonhart on the side of this Demist. Part of the issue, I think, also, Commander is down to, I want to say, less than a half dozen life potions. So he's in a bit of a tricky spot here. And going agility versus agility with this Edge and the D-Mist, this is a rough spot for Commander to be in, not having like a traditional agility anchor. And we are now down to just Kane and Edge on this side. Plenty of darts, but not the position Commander wants to find himself in.
No, he'll have to make hay while the sun shines here, while D-Mist is in solid corporeal form. Question in chat about that package that's showing up for Rexbanner. That package was from the Golbez fight. Rex did check the package. It was a duplicate Tella. Absolutely no help to him. As far as character checks go, we have the Giant, which we have to do at some point. We have the Tower of Zot. And we have the Hook Route. And the Sand Rupee.
Yeah, and one interesting thing that was brought up by our tracker, Scythe Marshal, today was with the Giant being an objective and with the struggles that our runners are having, was this the actual group stage seed where a D-Machine grind could have been the play? You just get Rydia to nuke, you get the boys to a big level. We do now see there is the Earth Crystal. That is the 10th key item for Rex. It also, more importantly, is 2 character checks. So while Rex is objectively behind at this point as far as conditions to win the game, he has a lot more potential tools to advance his progression a lot faster. Basically, if there's a Cecil on Zot, there's a freight train coming, and that freight train is called Rexbanner.
Yeah, and Rex is going to go straight there, you would think. Knows that a Cecil would turn this game right around for him. Might check the treasury, might just fade that treasury almost an hour 15 in, but definitely wants the opportunity to check the 2 characters up there. There are some opportunities up there. We've already seen the duplicate Tella, but that could be a Cecil and Fu, or it could just be 2 twins who would be just about useless at this stage.
We're going to get that rate that treasury.
Woo!
Rate that treasury!
Another Drain Spear. Why not?
Not worth the time out of 10.
No. No. Masa, which is nice. I believe Rex doesn't have one of those yet. But other than that, I mean, when you're pulling silver staffs out of the treasury at an hour 15, that's not what you're looking for.
Yeah, and D-Mist rewarded a spoon for Commander Leonhart, not what he wanted to get. Thankfully, it was an objective, I guess, but yeah, that's kind of hurtful.
Yeah, but gonna head down to the Masamune altar. We haven't seen Alt Gauntlet yet, I'm just saying.
That is true. No Alt Gauntlet. This'll do. This'll do. Well played. Well played, Escron. That is Val hanging out here at the Ogopogo spot. Gonna be pretty speedy. Gonna be pretty punchy. There is a grand total of, Bahamut's not going to do a darn thing here. Sadly, the moon spots really hate summons, and Val also is fantastic at just not taking magical damage at all at this point. Not having more than just Tella as a blink caster is not great. This is rough for Commander's current party, and I think we're probably going to see a reset here sooner than later. Yeah, there is that reset from Commander, and we are joined now by Dr. Luge and Balnab, going to see if their comedy routine is better than Golbez's. Couple drain spears to the face are going to definitely change some things. Balnab deciding that his comedy routine is explosive and really in your face, but Kane is able to just laugh it off.
Kane is able, huh? Yeah, and you could tell on that Commander Valvalis fight, how important he thought it was. He immediately chucked that spoon.
Yeah.
That he gets that back with that reset.
Yeah, just in time for Baigen, which is so much better than Val. Spoiler, it's worse. And there's another reset from Commander. So yeah, I think at this point we can safely say that Escrunt managed to roll a seed where the correct play on group stage might have just been D-Machine, complete your giant objective, and go through that way, which is so strange. Also, where is this Cecil? Fusoya is great. We're probably going to see Fusoya taken over Rydia here, but no Cecil. Quack Kid like 100 years too late as well.
And just as you predicted, so we have a double old man strats.
Yeah, I mean, Fusoya makes sense. He has all the stuff that Rydia has and then some. Not on Commander's side, where Commander has Bahamut and is able to do a lot of work with that. Rex doesn't have Bahamut. I don't even know if he had Leviathan. But we do see a free fight here in the tower. Going to be quickly done with this one. Probably just a Quake from Fusoya will end this.
And we're also officially done with free fights.
Yeah, and also I have to ask chat for those who are reading. Just read Rex's names top to bottom right now. It's pretty funny, y'all. And I'll leave y'all with that, and probably get newspapered.
Meanwhile, a Commander doing everybody's favorite grind, a Baigen arm grind in the Ribbon Room. That Bahamut really paying off for Commander at this point, making this Baigen a lot more doable.
Yeah, that Bahamut is the absolute MVP for Commander Leonhart right now. If he is to get through this Baigen fight, it is on the back of this Bahamut summon.
Yeah, it's basically a supercharged Quake, which Rydia doesn't have access to yet anyway. And that is another part of a chain for Rexbanner. It's the Rat Tail. That's an objective.
Yeah, so that means that the Barren Basement to the Earth Crystal to the Rat Tail, there is at least value at the end of this path. So that is a good thing for Rex, although he is headed to the moon.
Well,
he doesn't have the hook.
Rat Tail, he doesn't have the hook yet.
Yeah, I knew that. I can see buttons on a tracker.
So that is an interesting chain that will have to happen at some point. And the Ribbon Room, it's always fun when the Ribbon Room contains a coffin. Like, your dreams of getting something good here just died. But that Sand Ruby, maybe there's a Cecil.
Yeah, but that means that the hook, the Luca key, both have to be, both have to be on this moon, and we are down to what, the Crystal Sword Altar and the Murasame spot?
That's right.
So they're up here, or they're, between...
They're chained
between the two, yeah. But this means that Commander, he's kind of forced to stay up on this moon, which means he is forced to go back for this Valvalis, which is, again, just super awkward for this party because he is relying very heavily on this Bahamut.
Yeah, and there are 3 checks left up here on the moon that we don't know about. And the hook and the Luca key, or them together, are among those 3.
Yeah, and almost certainly once Rex, or if Rex gets through this Asura, I shouldn't jump to conclusions on this because this is still a difficult fight. Rex getting that pan when he does, you'd be looking at him almost certainly chasing it as well, and then being sorely disappointed when it leads to nothing. So I think Commander's still in an okay spot here. I do think Rex has swung things back in his favor, as Commander is taking quite a bit of time on this moon and is not going to have a Fusoya to help. And Fu having Blink, having Cure, having all the things that you want in a white and black mage, except for exactly Bahamut, I think is going to do a lot of work here.
Yeah, Rydia trying to do her best impression of a white mage on Leonhardt's side, but an Asura summon does not a white mage make, and some unfortunate targeting from Val there. Leonhardt trying to get the jump to be chained with that Bahamut to get maximum damage dealt to that Val when she stops spinning, but she has to stop hitting Rydia first.
Yeah, one of the awkward things about it is you generally want to leave Val in the tornado form, and when you rely on magic, you have to pop her out, which means you take more physical hits, and at a spot like this on the moon, that is a ton of damage that comes from those physical hits. Also, that Asura just evaporated on Rex's side. Oh my heavens.
Yeah, Rex threw that spot in a flash, gets that pan.
And onward Rex goes, getting out of Value Cave. And we see some more jumps coming out on Commander's side. Will we get another Bahamut cast? Oh, the Blink caster is down. Will this Bahamut come out before she spins again? It doesn't look like it, unfortunately. And hopefully Edge here doesn't get the Ray. So Edge at least still alive for now, but this is getting a little bit dicey on Commander's side.
Rex, meanwhile, cognizant that there is still an objective in the LST, going to dive the LST. You would think he'd want to do as much of it as he can while he's here.
Yeah, and Commander, unfortunately, having to take another reset to that Val, is going to go back and try it again. I think he has the right idea, just needs to be a little crisper on the timing. But this is a rough one. There's a lot that has to go right here for Commander Leonhart to consistently get through this. The other option, maybe just zerking up your best Berserk caster, blinking with Tella, and just kind of living on a prayer at that point. It's a very sketchy situation that Commander finds himself in.
Yeah, what do you think the battle speed situation should be for Commander at this point?
I would have it no higher than 3, somewhere between 3 and 6. I think if you're at battle speed 1 or 2, you're just asking for trouble here. There's also even some potential merit to taking the curse ring and putting it on Rydia so that your Tella is getting more actions here, and that way you can have blinks being cast more rapidly until Tella's MP runs out. There's a lot of ways to try to approach this fight. I don't know what the right one is. There's a lot of calculus that would have to go into it, and I think Commander Leonhart, now having tried 3 times, or it might be 4 with this Val, saying, let me maybe make this my forever fade, and if I lose to Val, then I lose to Val, because that is not a required alter.
No, or at least there are 2 other checks that Commander needs to make, or feels like he needs to make. At least get the EXP and get the and get the position there before trying Val again.
Yeah, and a couple more levels might do the trick as well. Commander is at 10 key items, so this is going to represent another 120,000. Well, about another 100,000 because Dark Elf steals some of the XP from our runners. But this is a situation where I think that extra 100,000, and maybe as chat's pointing out, a monster box or 2, could really do a bit of good for Commander here.
Dark Elf here, not particularly threatening. The magic power at this spot very low for the moon. Although once changes into dragon form, will be vulnerable to status effects, but also hits hard.
Yeah, will turn very punchy very fast. But if you can weak, if you can blink, any number of things that can help with that relative punchiness that Commander has access to. And speaking of weak, there comes a weak on Tella. which is not too big a deal, and we get to see Piggy jumping Kane. You'll love to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll believe Commander Leonhart can win this race. When pigs fly and jump.
Well, I guess you're saying there's a chance.
There's a chance.
Well, Tella going down there was not ideal. That was with a weak queued up, I believe. So no weak now, which means we're probably relying on just Bahamut calling to finish this fight out. Well, unless Rydia gets bopped and the Dragon Breath thing kills her, that was incredibly unfortunate. A little bit of board AI there hitting Commander. Yeah, this is rough now. Needs to just kind of hold A and pray here. As we see the piggies flying again, trying to close this fight out. But this one's really getting away from Commander with some bad luck here.
Yeah, Commander might be a little tilted as well. This deep breath. Ooh, another high roll on that, and another wipe for Commander.
Yeah, this moon just not going his way. Tella getting weaked did not help, as Chad is pointing out. But Rex, meanwhile, was able to get through that demist. That pile of all of those drain spears really helping. But looks like he's going to opt for just berserking now with that edge, and as well with the cane. So going double Zerk here, and just going to go and probably do some arm grinding while we're at it, with a Quake coming out from Fusoya as well.
Yeah, everybody's favorite style. A Vigan arm grind. The Ribbon Room does have very high EXP, so the arm grind not quite as futile as it would be in other spots.
Yeah, and the weak again landing on Tella here for Commander Leonhart, so not going to have access to his own weak spell. We will see, because he can adapt here, maybe throw a stop with Rydia rather than the life potion here on Tella. That would buy him a couple turns. So this is a situation where Race Brain gets the best of you. You hyper focus on one thing, which in this case is weaking, when there are other ways to kind of mitigate potential disaster. So now hopefully we get through this and there's no issues. But Commander may be feeling the throes of battle here, and possibly be either tilting a little bit or just not in the best of moods, given how this moon is gone.
Yeah, both Weak and Bahamut taking a little bit of time to cast, but this time the Weak gets off. This Bahamut will be extreme overkill, but I think Commander will take it.
Yeah, this might not be Final Fantasy X. You might not get anything extra for overkilling, but it feels darn good, especially after the troubles that Commander went through in that fight.
Yeah, very nice fight that time. Was able to overcome the troubles and gets a hook.
Yep, so we know that's required at least. And it also means that when Commander goes back to the blue planet, he will have an adamant armor to help him out. And Commander says now is the time. Not going to deal with that Val. Now, Rex, on the other hand, is going to show us what that Val is going to have. He is in a much, much better position to get through. Having Blink on this Fusoya and having that pile of spears to throw at Val, or may just opt to go double Berserk as well and just blink up whoever gets hit. So I think in Commander's situation, he's hoping Val has nothing. I think if Val has the goods here, the door is closing very rapidly on Commander's chances if this Val has the value.
Yeah, very much so. It's kind of a turning point. Now, Leonhart does have the Murasame altar to check out, the Vanilla Pale Dim spot. Going to see what that's all about. But I can't imagine, with how much trouble he's had against that Val, that he'll make the walk all the way back down. I think that would be a fade at this point for him.
Yeah, and one of the interesting things also that we're seeing here is Rex threw the spoon at nearly immediately here, and just 10,000 damage off the top. Now, part of what we also see is Rex has done this moon at 10 key items, whereas Commander came up here with, I think it was 7. So we see a way better level situation for Rex at this point as well, by virtue of having everyone alive through these fights, coming up here with 10 key items, and even a little bit of that gold dragon grinding he did in Value Cave. So there's some good play happening here from Rex on the back end of this seed, really making up for some of his early troubles, while Commander had some really good play at the early game and has seen a few more struggles on the back end. So kind of a tale of two seeds, and very quickly through that Val for Rex. Job very well done, and we shall see, because this is a huge moment. That's a Bahamut summon, so Rex says, "Gimme my darts back," and we will carry on. So that's a huge deal for Commander, and a very good fade.
Yeah, the hair dryers were a lot easier to pry that Bahamut summon from than that Val. But Commander is through Mylon and Friends, just gets a Moon Veil. So the hook, one way or another, contains the way to the Luca key.
Yeah, so we will see Commander head on back down to the blue planet now, having done everything but that Val. I think that he has correctly assessed that is his forever fade. So we know that Commander has access to the Forge. A little surprising we're not seeing the Giant being completed here. That's one thing that I would think to route in on Commander's side, being at 10 key items and just wanting to get all that juicy XP. But he may also want the pink tail before doing any of this. So that might be the big play here.
Yeah, taking care of the Giant in between the moon and the blue planet does save a cutscene, but as you can see, Commander's levels a little bit low compared to Rex's, so might not feel totally confident without that adamant armor in taking on the Giant. There are still some rude, nasty, ugly bosses that could be waiting on that Giant, including, I don't know, Kainatsu at Elements.
Yeah, the Kainatsu at Elements is still on the table. Rex will be in a much better situation to handle that because of those levels. But it is, one of those situations where I think both runners are still going to have to be pretty creative in how they handle it. Because even at nearly 3,000 health on the Kane, on Rex's side, that Kainatsu can still one-shot a Kane at nearly 3,000 HP at that spot. So it is not something to be trifled with at all.
Not at all. Well, Commander does get his vanilla adamant armor. That's something that doesn't change. And we'll now get to determine which way he wants to go, and is going to dive that hook route. Maybe for the character, and, definitely going to launch the Falcon while he's down here.
Yeah, certainly makes sense. You want to try to minimize airship travel. So that is going to allow Commander to launch the Falcon and go through and turn in that Forge objective. What it will also give him access to at that point is the Fame Arch. So he can just go back through and complete those checks. And also potentially, and we hope he avoids this, is the Keyless Tower play.
Yeah, the Keyless Tower going right back up would allow him, even though he doesn't know it yet, to launch the Falcon and immediately ditch the Falcon. But I'm sure that's very low on his list of concerns.
Yeah, we shall see what route our runners take. I do know that my personal preference, adamant armor notwithstanding, would be to do the Giant into the hook into the underground, just to save on as many cutscenes as possible. But this will be interesting. Even in Rex's shoes, he may opt for the hook first, especially if, and there's the guy, if we find a Cecil. So Now this is where that routing pays off because you can take that Cecil and you have enough XP left in the seed that you can still get a Crystal Sword Cecil into the mid 40s or even high 40s for level. And there is no such thing as Cecil Gobert.
Hmm. Do want to welcome in the Raiders from the bottom tier. Welcome. This has been a really fun seed so far. A lot of back and forth. Rexbanner has just completed all of his moon checks, and so now will be committed to the blue planet. One of the objectives, completing the sealed cave, requires the Luca key, which we have not found yet.
Yeah, and we do see Commander having a very awkward thing that he has to do here. No back row glitch available for that Cecil. So he is stuck in a situation where he is going to just have to front row that Cecil for right now. Rex going to the Giant first, which means on Rex's side, we are unlikely to see that Cecil get picked up now. But Rex opting for as few cutscenes as possible, just going to try to take care of this Giant now on the way back.
Yeah, very much so. Commander Leonhart, I thought you were going to say it was awkward because the betrayer has become the betrayed. Kane has, along with Bahamut, carried Commander Leonhart through parts of the seed. But, you know, when you got a knight who shows up with something big and shiny in his hands, you just gotta let him swing it.
Yeah, and looks like we have some dolls at the King Queen Evelyn spot. We have Rex was AFK potentially for a little bit there. An hour 40 in could very well have been a bio break, a snack break, a water break, any number of things, and I would not blame him one bit. Also, make sure while our runners are going through this hook route in this Giant that you go ahead and give them a follow. They have put on a great show for you so far. I actually don't know who's ahead here still. I think that Crystal Sword Cecil, by the end of things, is going to give Commander a huge potential advantage here. I think Rex is ahead right now, but I don't think this is decided quite yet. If Commander fades the right things, man, this is still really close. Oh hi, there's Ogo Pogo on the hook route, and there's 65,000 HP of Evil Wall. I mean, they're both free at these levels, but they're both super awkward at the same time.
Yeah, both will take some time. Both will get some damage in during during their time. Both could have been really disastrous in the wrong spot. But speaking of really disastrous, some folks who have not been really disastrous are our wonderful restreamers S-Grunt, our intrepid tracker Scythe Marshall, and part of the Cool S Club, my wonderful co-commentator Spasmorpheus.
Yeah, and of course, thank you, Sleeps Launcher, for being fantastic yourself, and keeping me on my P's and Q's and not getting into too much trouble on commentary today.
Is Sleep Launcher is that how I'm putting everybody to sleep?
No, I thought we were just putting S's in front of everything today. So
okay.
we have Rexbanner, we have Scamander, Leonhart. I thought that's what we were doing.
Speaking of putting S's in front of everything, Commander Leonhart took a swipe to Ogo Pogo. Has to deal with the dolls again.
Yeah, Ogo Pogo's, I guess, still just rude enough. But yeah, it's one of those situations where even just a couple of levels on that Cecil would have made a huge difference. I do wonder if the approach just needs again to be like Blink and Zerk. And I also am curious, further down the line, like as good as this Rydia has been, would Kane still be better than this Rydia just as another Zerker right now? Going with more of the long game, and more of the late game plan. So I guess Asura also not trolling Commander Leonhart would have helped, and hitting a cure spell instead of a life one.
Well, I mean, 33% of the time it works 0% of the time. That's what you get with Asura.
That's true. Asura does what Asura wants. It's kind of like the spider pig. Just it does its thing. But meanwhile, Rex is through that evil wall on the giant. So we shall see what is in the second spot. Have we seen the Alt Gauntlet yet?
We have not.
This is a fun spot for the Alt Gauntlet because the first fight is the D-Machine grind fight.
And we've been clamoring for a D-Machine grind for a while, which we haven't usually done on this flag set.
Yeah, I will say both runners probably extremely nervous at this point. Now, obviously, seeds are going to run long when the Giant and the Falcon are required, and it's not a hook route, which also in this case was good for our runners, being that Ogopogo was there. That would not have been a fun hook route with that party. But our runners are, progressing through these checks now, and we do have, thank you very much, the Gauntlet at CPU.
This was a fun giant. Evil Wall into Alt Gauntlet. Not fun for us.
Yeah. This would be probably different F words for the runners that we cannot repeat, but fun is what we'll call it. We'll be sure to ask our runners about this particular giant and this particular hook route in the post game. While Commander Leonhart does get through the Ogopogo on the hook route, so we'll be the first of our runners to complete Objective 7. And I assume at some point we will likely see the Forge get turned in on Commander's side as well.
Yeah, no time like the present on that. Rexbanner not interested in playing around with D-Machines anymore than he has to.
Yeah, one thing that Rex needs to be careful of here is there is a single D-Machine that shows up in this gauntlet, and it is very scary. So that's the particular concern is when the fire spam starts. If you're not really quick to react with either your cures or your weaks, that fight can get out of hand in a hurry because it's all HP percentage based damage. It's not raw damage. So we'll see what Rex's knowledge of this gauntlet is and how he, goes through and prepares for this.
Commander did peek the top of tower, saw a blue robe, doesn't know whether that's Water Hag or Alt Gauntlet. We'll see if that deters him from climbing up that tower.
Yeah, and now is Clown Fiesta time on Rexbanner's side. This is the moment of the seed. While there have been a few, this fight gets out of hand really fast, as we see. The week has not even hit yet, and we are down to 2 party members already. This D-Machine, in its solo form, is terrifying. Rex does get through, but he is going to need to recover a little bit, and that's the scary part about D-Machines in the wild. They do a number on the party.
Yeah, they go super quick. You were saying all the ways that their attacks are just terrifying, and the worst part is you don't really get a chance outside of battle to improve yourself at all.
Yeah, it's just a very awkward fight within a 5-fight set, and it just so happens to be exactly fight number 3. In the gauntlet at the element spot, it's fight number 4. Both of them are just particularly awkwardly placed, and it's not intentional as far as development or anything like that is concerned. It's just where they fall in the encounter table. So it's just a very awkward situation for those D-Machines that are standing alone. But meanwhile, we see Commander diving into this Fey March. Now, we know that there is no value down here, that Commander needs to go to that Barren basement. So hopefully he's able to make it over to that Barren basement sooner than later.
Now, I thought everything that happened in Free Enterprise was because bored Zoe hated me.
Well, I mean, there is certainly some board face AI and maybe some Zoe AI at this point, um, but we can't really blame everything on that. Okay, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, what's the fun in not doing that?
But this is also fight number 5 of this gauntlet. 2 Mac Giants. This would be the summon uh, if you were to use a Siren on this floor. Looks like Rex is down to basically no MP left on this Fusoya, but managed it very well. So job well done to Rex getting through this gauntlet, and job well done to Commander just obliterating that Mylon and on to Golbez's comedy tour here in the Feymarch.
Yeah, a really spectacular fight by Rexbanner to get through that giant pretty squeaky clean. We'll get, I think, Forum? Yep. Forum is the reward here.
Air quote reward.
Can anchor.
Yeah.
You want that?
Tell us a better one.
So earlier you were saying on Commander's side, with Rydia doing a lot of work, but Kane might be better. Would it be worth it to you to pay a visit to the Tower of Wishes to trade in Rydia for a Kane for maybe the Giant or the Z fight?
I don't think so at this point. I think if you were to have done that, you would have done it, or you would have just not done it at all, is what I should be saying here. That you don't want to be making extra trips now. So you want to make sure that you are just doing whatever you can to progress as quickly as possible. The end of the game is ultimately going to be Cecil Zerking and Edge Zerking. A white mage at this point is going to cast probably one spell. Rydia can just cast one Asura all the same. So if you were to have made that change, it would have been earlier. If you were to just go triple Zerker, that means you don't have to deal with multiple in the way of big bangs. So I think that time has passed. But speaking of things that have not passed, that is a Luca key from the Rat Tail. That is go mode for Rexbanner. He just has to complete the sealed cave and launch the Falcon. So I would assume we are going to see him take that hoverboat, do that Ogopogo fight, head on down, do the sealed cave, and then head to the final boss. While Commander Leonhart is going to reset out of that Golbez, and we hope for his sake is going to chase that Baron basement sooner than later.
Yeah, and that Luca cave, the sealed cave, I believe, has the pass. So that will chain quite nicely for Rex.
Yeah, I think that is all that is left. We know every other spot, and we do get Commander going Keyless Tower now, which we know is not the play, but Commander leaving no stone unturned here in the Underworld. So I think we can pretty decisively say now that this race has turned in Rexbanner's favor. But it was neck and neck for the longest time in this race.
Yeah, if you're watching sports, sometimes you'll see a graphic that shows the largest lead and how many ties there have been and the number of lead changes. And if we had one of those for this race, it would show quite a number of lead changes where both runners going back and forth, sometimes having setbacks, but most of the time just progressing forward and doing different things and showing a lot of really like one break in the play one way or another. It could have turned out very differently.
Interesting, and we see Tella being dropped in favor of the Cecil. So I think this tells me that Rex is going to end up with a Fusoya Anchor and a Trizerk. May end up taking a couple of grind fights to get that Cecil going. This is a little curious to me. I'm definitely going to want to ask Rex about this, because I think his party is good enough as it was without kind of fiddling with it to get through Zeromus. So we'll see. Maybe this is just I want the Crystal Sword Cecil, and I deserve a nice shiny thing after this seed.
Yeah, that certainly could be the case that, your eyes are naturally drawn to something shiny. They started with an ancient sword. But, yeah, an interesting play, but even at fairly low levels, and Rex knows he still has a couple fights ahead of him. Even at fairly low levels, that Cecil could still do some damage.
Yeah, we have adamant armor, crystal sword, level 1 Cecil. So Rex is making his statement here that he wants to bring this Cecil to the Z fight.
Yeah, as far as starter kits go, that's a pretty good one.
And we do have Commander has gotten through the top of tower, gotten his tower key, gonna fight his antlion, and then get his, was it Moonveil?
I believe so.
Which I guess could help against Evil Wall? Question mark. Or
Yeah,
maybe the
shouldn't be
gauntlet.
strictly necessary, but it could help.
Moonveil was Mura Alter. This is an Excal. Thank you,
Of
Scythe
course.
Marshall.
The items that you would normally love to have, but in this case were rather superfluous. We got them mixed up.
Yeah, effectively, neither one of them really does anything. They're just kind of things that exist. Speaking of things that exist, again, that's an Ogopogo. It does percentage-based damage, but there's just going to be so much Zerk damage coming out here that this Ogopogo is in for a very bad day. This is the difference with Rex going to the moon and doing the giant, all on 10 key items. He has level 60 Edge, level 60 Cane, level 60 Fu, maybe just shy of that, but it's it's a bad time for this Ogopogo on Rex's side.
Yeah, well, unless you're at level 99, you're not over leveled. So Rex should manage to barely scrape through.
And Rex going for a crumble skip here as well, has a Kamikaze queued up, trying to save a little bit of time here, and does actually get it. That is absolutely fantastic.
What a swaggy move. Wonderful to see.
And oddly enough, will actually save him a couple seconds, because that crumble skip is like 8 to 9 seconds that you save, maybe even a little more. So that's a cool little piece of tech to throw out there on Rex's side.
Yeah, and the knowledge to know exactly when to deploy that Kamikaze in order to deliver the killing blow to Ogopogo. You love to see it.
Yep, and speaking of things we love to see, Commander is making his way to the Baron basement. So we know that this is going to lead to glory for him. I think he also at this point knows, because he doesn't have anything left except for that Val. So I think we're going to see Commander continue to fade that Val and do literally everything else until that is the last possible check.
Yeah, this Mom Bomb is going to tell Commander to go fetch, and I think he will obey that.
Yeah, he will. I think at that point, this is tough. I wonder if Commander will take the Fusoya over the Rydia. I think at this point he will, begrudgingly, or may take Fusoya over Tella because he has a curse ring, and then just go curse ring Fusoya. And just keep Rydia, because Rydia's done a great job for him.
Yeah, he might feel like he owes her at that point. But the Fusoya for Tella for Fusoya swap is one of those that you see a lot. It's kind of a 1-to-1. Fusoya is just kind of a better Tella in a lot of cases. But when you have the double Zerkers, it's nice to have two mages who can cast Zerk and can cast Blink.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have Rex heading down this sealed cave here. Also, we'll have warp for this via that Fusoya. So that's a good thing for him as well. Using his final cabin, why not? There's nothing to do but kick some butt down here in the sealed cave, and then head off to the big bad final boss. And we know, based on your speculation, Sheep, that we're going to get the pass out of this too.
Yeah, and Rexbanner knows that there is still a troublesome boss down here, potentially. We haven't seen Kainatsu, we haven't seen Pale Din.
I'm not too certain that there's anything that's really going to be troublesome at this point. The gauntlet would have been a nice troll, but we already got the gauntlet required. That was a nice troll to begin with, so I think we're probably pretty okay here as far as bosses that Rex could run into. Yeah, and some seafood. Maybe it's dinner time for Rex, and going to be able to have some octopus.
I would not trust seafood found at the bottom of a cave, but you know, I'm kind of a scaredy cat in that way.
I mean, that's probably the smart play, but I'm a possum, and we're known for our dumpster diving, and this is just the deepest, darkest dumpster in all of the land, so I'm on board.
There you go, but this Octomam wouldn't be threatening even at lower levels. At these levels, not an issue at all.
Yeah, that Octomam was on the menu, is now off the menu, as it is just gone. Goodbye to Octomam, and hello to the Crystal. On Rex's side, our first runner officially ready to take on the big bad final boss, once he's able to get out of this cave, of course. Just under the 2-hour mark. What a seed.
It really was, and while we have the chance, do want to thank one more time the roller of this seed, S-Grunt, who's also been restreaming and providing wonderful commentary in the chat as well, and our tracker, Scythe Marshall, who has been doing just about everything, because these runners have been doing just about everything. Another pretty much 28 out of 28.
Yeah, definitely very full clear here, and make sure that y'all also give a follow to Sheep Launcher. Again, doing a great job keeping me in line on commentary, and give our runners one last follow. Rex and Commander putting on a heck of a show for you. Rex really showing you, especially the power of that 10 key item grind on the moon, if you will, where he didn't objectively take any fight specifically for grinding, but just getting that XP on the moon itself. Really showing how much those levels impacted, and was able to just get through things so much cleaner on the moon.
Yeah, a very nice, very efficient moon play. Really put Rex in the driver's seat. You could see why Rex has made the bracket stage in each of the last couple tournaments he's been in, and will head into Z in pole position to make make the play-in game in an attempt to make brackets again.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a gauntlet that he has to face to get there, going through his group and then Commander, and then potentially Microkorgs for the honor of potentially then facing Infinius. So quite a gauntlet indeed, but you know, if you're going to do well in these, you got to beat everyone. And speaking of beating everyone, I think that everyone is going to beat up on the big bad final boss. We have 42 agility that is being anchored with on this cane. We have some Z flags in chat. Now I know, Sheep Launcher, that we can't put Zeromus anywhere else because the Big Bang is way too nasty if it were to show up in Antland Cave or something like that. So I know there's a bit of a cosplay that Zeromus loves to do. What is that we say in this community again? I forget. There's a question.
Zeus butt. Zerwegana Zik. Zanite.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, there's really only one place Zeromus could be here at the end. Rexbanner will throw the crystal and give us the answer to the question we ask in a different way, because We always ask it.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to know, is the butt cute?
And does it have a helm?
Mm, it has horns.
Yeah.
If you turn it upside down, it could have a helmet.
Well, no, Bowser is the helmet of the contraption.
I mean, by that logic, that's like calling Canada America's hat, and we can't do that anymore.
I don't want to start another international incident.
Speaking of an international incident, Cecil decided that he was going to eat a nuke, and yeah, that's just not gonna work. Bye, Cecil.
Well, Rex didn't pick up this Cecil just to have him be a floor inspector, so we'll see after the Big Bang comes out, it's gonna life him back up and then get a Cure 4 engaged on him, and then resume the butt kicking.
And there is the life potion. I assume we'll see a Bacchus wine come out as well. We have two Zerkers going with Kane and Edge. They are pushing about 6,000 apiece. We have Commander turning in that rat tail from the Earth Crystal, going to pick up his Luca key. And he will be on his way now, needing the Forge, which eventually he will get around to doing, the the Sealed Cave, and the Giant. And then he also will be off to the big bad of Final Boss.
Yeah, Commander now officially in go mode, but still has some things on his to-do list to clean up.
And shoutouts to Cecil. He got a swing in before he perished. He tried. Not Cecil's day, folks. Just not Cecil's day. And we do have the Forge from Commander. Let's go.
Well, this should show everybody the power of showing up. You know, 50% of whatever it is you're doing is just being there and doing it. And when Cecil doesn't show up for a long time, he doesn't get the opportunity to show what he can do.
He gets a gold star for trying, though, and that's okay. Sometimes a gold star is important.
Another big bag coming out. I don't think Rex threw a silk web onto this Bowser mess.
No, and it does get a little bit awkward without that silk web because of the relative agility tiering, but there is a fair amount of damage coming out here. There will be some the black hole and some more Bacchus wine being needed to re-zerk the boys here, but Rex could also opt to just stop zerking Edge at this point and just go ahead and start darting. Looks like only one Bacchus left, and I think that may be what's happening here is we're now into dart mode. Has 14 drain spears, and looks like we're going to get one of them tossed right now. Tossing them for 5,000 damage, so kind of like having a nuke caster, which is really not too bad.
And also notice the name order on Rexbanner's side.
Yeah, this is just Scala presenting. There's a comma after Scala here. Scala saying, "This is the butt, folks. Enjoy Bowsermas."
Another
this is awkward.
Yeah, it's getting a little dicey here.
We need rocks very soon. Okay, there's rocks. So we really need Edge to dodge. Edge does not dodge. Rex is in danger, y'all.
Yeah, one more Meteor could wipe out that Kane. Is he going to get enough swings in?
No. We are getting a wipe here, and this may not yet be over. I still think Rex is in the driver's seat, but he is suddenly extremely nervous. That was a pretty surprising wipe, all things considered. A lot of very bad things happened there for it to even turn out like this. Cecil had to go down immediately to not push that damage. Fusoya had to go down. Yeah, just very unlucky. I think we'll see a better result. Yeah.
A bunch of things that individually had maybe a 5% chance kind of all hit at the same time, leading to a wipe for Rexbanner. You know, when he's going back up to that. Maybe one eye is on the race room to see if that dot done is there. Maybe a little gnawing feeling in the pit of your stomach. But if Rex can regain his composure, which he usually does, he still has the advantage here. Maybe if this Z fight goes any cleaner.
Yeah, and I think this also highlights the potential risk of bringing that Cecil on board, that a good anchoring situation was already set up where the Cane and the Edge were dealing, 6,000 damage around. That while Cecil adds that power overwhelming, this is the risk. 42 agility is just not the same as multiple RA1 Zerkers. So I definitely get picking Cecil up there. It was probably in an attempt to push extra damage faster to try to win a race you feel behind in, when we know that Rex has now been ahead for the better part of the last, half an hour. But he doesn't know that. So I can definitely see it both ways. It's just a little bit interesting how it turned out. The nerfing with the slow is definitely going to help here. Unfortunately, Cecil takes the nuke again and falls over again. That's two 25%ers with an adamant armor on, not able to dodge. So not great.
Yeah, that's one of the things about the 4-character maximum in these flags is, if it seems like the AI is targeting the person you least want it to, it's because there's more of a chance for it to.
Yep, absolutely. Like even targeting that Cecil 2 times independently with a nuke there, it's a 25% chance one time. It happens again, you're effectively looking at what, a 6.5% chance, something like that. So it's still not unreasonably low that it would happen. It's unfortunate, but it's a mathematical possibility at that point that's going to happen. It just stinks when it does.
But you can see the effect that slow is having on Bowsum as it's not coming out quite as fast, and here comes the big bang.
Yeah, unfortunately, Cecil is probably on the ground again. I think, as cool an idea as it is, without taking an extra siren or two, it just becomes too awkward to try to manage that Cecil. The other thing is it eats into the cures going to the other characters. So now Fusoya is not full healing everyone. He's only full healing a couple folks. And this is where it starts to get scary because we have another shake. Fusoya is not in the queue. We have a nerf coming out from Cecil, but I'm a little scared here for Rex again.
And that nuke on Fu, not who you want it.
Yeah, and so we have a problem here now. Rex is staring straight down the barrel of a second wipe here, and Commander is approaching and now into this Evil Wall fight. This is getting very scary, and this agility situation and this Z fight is just, it's sideways for Rex right now.
Yeah, Rex is trying to show the gumption, trying to rescue this fight from the edge of oblivion, but that big bang is going to force him to succumb once again.
Yeah, I think I like the battle speed being turned down here, but yeah, Rex really needs that Cecil to not go down immediately. The issue, though, is Rex has 2 party members that are very vulnerable to Big Bang counter nuke into Big Bang. And those 2 characters are arguably the 2 most important on the team in Cecil, who can deal the most damage, but is effectively a glorified Edward right now, and Fusoya. So 50% of Rex's team is very much so in danger from an initial counter nuke, and it leaves him in a very vulnerable position. This is why, again, that anchoring is so important in Z fights, and even with these level 60 characters, why you can still see potential suffering in these fights. Now Rex may also be thinking, though, as nervous as he might be, that his opponent may also be in the same situation, not seeing a done this far into a group seed. You're counting your lucky stars, but at the same time, you're super nervous.
And speaking of dicey fights, this Evil Wall has not been kind to Commander Leonhart.
Well, thankfully, there's an adamant armor on Cecil, so he can never die here. And that's going to pay dividends for Commander down the road. It helps in this fight too, of course. But just having all of that extra health, all of that extra in the way of attack multipliers, Commander's in a decent spot here. Commander, though, also has to watch out for that D-Machine in fight number 3 on the Gauntlet. It doesn't care that Cecil's wearing an adamant armor. It will still do 20% fire damage repeatedly over and over again until people just die. That D-Machine is ruthless. More ruthless even than the Z fight on Rex's side.
Well, that time the nuke went off against Edge, and Rex has to be breathing a little bit of a sigh of relief. He's not out of the woods yet, but that's a good start.
Yeah, as long as it's not on Cecil in particular, and then secondarily Fu, that was the perfect target. Like, I guess Kane would be technically a better target, but that was one of the 2 acceptable targets.
And Commander gets the bad news about the alt gauntlet. He might be feeling a little bit behind as well, facing this time sink this far into the seed.
Yeah, again for Commander, though, probably knowing that this seed has been fairly trolly for him, and maybe thinking at this point that it's been trolly for his opponent as well. And he is correct if he's thinking that. This has been unpleasant on both sides. The moon was really rude. This gauntlet is rude. Z is being rude to Rex. But that Cecil being up, that is a ton of extra damage being pushed on Rex's side.
Yeah, this fight going much more smoothly for Rex. Just shows you what a little bit of luck can do.
Yeah, and that was, I believe, the HP refill to tip into phase 2, and pushing about 10,000 damage around. So we're going to see an unnerfed Big Bang here. We're going to see Cecil go down. We might be getting a nerf here, actually, trying to keep this Cecil up. Rex thinks the better of it, may not have the timing fully down, and decides that he's going to just wait it out. So accepting Cecil's fate there, going to keep the Kane and the Edge alive. Fusoya only taking 1,300, so that is plenty good here. And we have that nasty D-Machine on Commander's side. We'll see if he's able to get through it. Going full healing mode with Asura with an Elixir on Fusoya. So should be in pretty good shape as long as this Asura doesn't troll, which it does not. So Commander should be through this gauntlet, no problem, while Rex is still chipping away at this Bowser mess.
Yeah, and Rex does get the black hole, will zerk up that Kane, but Edge, I think, will just be happy darting Drain Spears at this point.
Yeah, and it makes sense, and we should be nearing rocks at this point. A lot of extra damage got pushed with that Cecil. I do think we might see a parry come out. It looks like we're just going to get a party-wide cure here. It should just get back over to Edge's turn to keep on darting. And at 5,000 damage a pop, those are not small darts. Those are nice, chunky darts.
Yes. Another shake, but rocks should be falling shortly.
Rocks are in fact falling now, so we should be good here on Rex's side. I don't think there's enough rocks that can fall to wipe him out at this point.
And in fact, no rocks fell. A party-wide dodge. And that does it. Rexbanner has taken the tiebreaker match, will advance to the Dragoon Helm play-in race against Microcorgs with an official time of 2:17:00. Rexbanner one step closer to making it to brackets once again. GG's.
GG's to Rex, and we will see if we can get him in for an interview. And with that dinging in our ears, I believe we're joined by Rexbanner. Rex, before you say anything, we're saying GG's. Don't talk yourself down.
Hey, good evening, folks. Hopefully we put on a nice show for you.
You put on a great show.
That was a really fun moon.
That was an interesting whole seed overall. I've never seen the Earth not give me what I want before. Feymarch Tower, Baron itself, the basement was the only thing that really had value.
So I gotta ask you about the decision that ultimately kind of led things a bit astray at the end. Obviously, you had the Crystal Sword from, well, you know, like the 15-minute mark or whatever it was. You see the Cecil. You had a pretty good party layout with an Anchor, a Fusoya, and, you know, 2 Zerkers. Did you just want the shiny thing for the shiny man? Or, like, what was the decision tree in the process that went into taking Cecil there?
That one is called Poor Life Choices, and making the assumption that you are a lot further behind than apparently you were. I felt really behind. I didn't think I was going to get it, so I thought, well, I have a Crystal Sword, let's have fun to end this off. You know, like, take a low-level Cecil in, let's just have a little fun. And then after I finished everything and I got the pass and I'm landing and I haven't seen the dot done yet, I'm like, oh no, I messed up.
Gotcha. Yeah, we were a bit curious, like maybe it was a play to try to push extra damage to make up some time if you felt behind. But that also checks out because we know you are a showman and a man of the people. So
yeah, would it have been bad if Zeramis could have shown me a little respect and left Cecil alone?
Yeah, that was just rotten luck to have Zeramis target Cecil each of the first 2 times.
Yeah, that definitely threw a wrench in my plan, but we got through it. Just they should have dropped the battle speed a little sooner.
So I also saw you do something interesting. I've seen folks buy Drain Spears on this flag set, but I haven't seen folks buy 21 of them. Was that a calculated number? Was it just something you had in mind? Or just you said, okay, well, maybe I have 12 bosses left, I'll buy 21 Drain Spears. Like, what was the reasoning behind such a large pile of darts?
I hadn't found really anything good for Edge at that point for weapons. I think he was rocking Middle Sword Mute. So when I saw the Drain Spheres, I looked at my money. I'm like, well, we're going to buy as many as I can hold. And that was sort of it. I still hadn't found a good weapon. I wanted something for Edge to keep justifying his spot.
Gotcha. It definitely worked out because those darts came in handy. You were able to get through things like Valvalis. You were able to get through the moon in general a lot faster than Commander did. The other thing I wanted to ask about was your decision to take the Gold Dragon fights without hourglasses in Value Cave. Is that something you're a fan of, or was that kind of a spot decision to be like, hey, I need to do something to beat this Asura, and this will help me?
It was sort of that. It's like I could use a few more levels, and I had the weak with Tella, but I had the Dragoon Spear, a Dragoon Helm on Kane, so I knew Kane should be able to at least live through it. And so I'm like, the hourglasses didn't have, but I'm like, well, if Kane can, be a good boy and kill them faster than they kill my party, that would be great. And it sort of worked. It got me a few levels on Kane the first time, and then Kane and Edge the next time. But apparently, I rushed through my Shura fight. I should have put blink on edge before and starting the berserking of him.
Well, where
Gotcha.
you really made up and made up a lot of time was going through that moon with the 10 key items the second time you kind of blitzed the moon. Tell us about your thought process in taking down all of those rude moon bosses.
My thought process as well, since I knew there was value on the moon, and I'm generally a moon diver, I normally love to rush the moon. I didn't this time, and after seeing those bosses, I was happy, so I was hoping that if Commander had tried to rush the moon, at least he met these bosses and it just sort of pushed him back and held him up, because, let's face it, Val at Moon is not the nicest. Baigen at Ribbon Room, no one likes that. I think the nicest boss I ran into was White Spear?
Yeah, I think that was your Dark Elf, which was not... It still could be potentially trolly, but you got through it no problem.
Yeah, so I was rather happy I went up there, or did it later instead of early. It's just my last few practice seeds, I've been getting burned by my early moon dive, so I thought I should maybe attempt to not moon dive so early this time and finish off the Earth and see what happens.
Yeah, well, with that, you do move into that play-in game with microcords. Do we know? Actually, before I ask that question, GG's to Commander coming in, time of 2:23:47. So, but a few minutes behind. So ultimately, a pretty darn close race between the two of y'all. Do we know when to see you and microcords go to battle?
Not yet. I haven't talked to Cords yet, but I'm gonna send him a message. If he can do tomorrow, I'm good for tomorrow, but I'm just gonna message him and see if we can get something set up sooner than later.
Well, is there anything you want to tell him about what he should be fearing, what he should be expecting?
Just let's have a good game. This whole group has been a real blast racing against. They're all quality racers. It gave me what I was after, which was a nice challenge. I could push to keep going, getting better. So Korgs is someone that I've raced a bunch through the ladder and other ways, and I enjoy my races against Korgs. He's generally the one that comes out the victor, but I know I can get past him, so we're going to definitely give it another shot.
All right, so this time I'm going to need you to up the intensity just a little bit more, up the threateningness. Come on, you could do it. He's right there. You tell it to his face.
Oh, and he's a great guy, and he has the best production value I've ever seen for Twin Harp.
You know, I'm
if you guys don't
here.
know that, you should really watch Korgs' Twin Harp. It's rather well done. And I know I'm a terrible talker when it comes to stuff like this. I would rather praise my opponent and look for a good game.
Well, I hope everybody has fun out there. Possum, any other questions for Rex before we wish him luck in the play-in race to determine the second competitor out of the Dragoon Helm?
No questions here. Just want to congratulate Rex on a race well run. Definitely on the upper end of difficulty for this flag set. So, job well done, Rex, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one.
All right, well, thank you, folks. GG's to Commander. Thanks to Possum and Sheep Launcher for the commentary. S. Grunt for this lovely trash fire of a seed that I enjoyed. And to Scythe Marshall for pushing the buttons and keeping them away from you, Possum. But thank you, folks. You have a good evening, and we'll do this again.
Yeah, GG's once again, and best of luck in your next race.
And we will see. I believe we are now joined by Commander Leonhart. GG's Commander Leonhart.
Thank you.
That seed. Your thoughts?
Yeah, did anybody get the name of the seed that just hit us? Oh my goodness. Whew.
Yeah, that was an S-Grunt special there.
No doubt, no doubt.
So you were met with, both of you were met with a lot of rude fights and challenging decision points throughout the seed. I think the big one was you ended up diving the moon on like 7-ish key items, maybe 8. Rex stayed on the Earth, full clearing to the ends of the Earth to get to 10 key items, and a big break was he ended up finding a Fusoya in Zot by way of the Baron basement, which really kind of turned things. Were you ever considering not going to the moon, or were you pretty hard committed, given some of the objectives and the lack of density of key items on Earth?
I put it off as long as I could. I prefer Earth first. But, and I knew I didn't have 10, but I got to a point where, excuse me, I had, I believe, Golbez at Leviathan, Mylon Z at Asura, Keyless Tower that I had no idea what was there, I hadn't even looked, and Mom Bomb in the basement. And it was that or the moon. And that was the point that I decided to go, rather than take on any of those spots with what I had. And once I did that and started marching down to the White Spear altar, I was committed to do my best to clear out the moon, hence my stubborn refusal to let Val go.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that Val was not kind to you, nor was the Dark Elf for that matter, nor was Baigan. Just a lot of gross fights up there. Was there, obviously the Val was kind of the white whale for a while there, but you were eventually able to get away from Val and not punished for fading. But what were kind of your thoughts on the bosses? Like, did you have anyone in particular that was more frustrating? Were you happy, like, with any of them? I thought your Baigan fight, really leveraging the Bahamut summon you got from the hairdryers, was very well done.
Yeah, the Baigan was fine. I think I had to walk out of it once and finally decide I wasn't going to outspeed the moon. I think that's when I made that decision. But once I did that and flipped over, I thought the Baigan fight went fine. The Dark Elf was very frustrating because at that spot in particular, I look at that and like, okay, you're supposed to beat that. And it felt like he just did. I don't know if I was just a little tilted and didn't handle it right, or if board AI was just on point for that first run, but that was the point where it's just like, Seed, please, come on. Have you not done enough?
Pierre, it really looked like you and Rex were trading the advantages throughout, where maybe one of you would have a setback sometimes and the other one would surge into the lead. Did it feel like that to you? Did it feel like you were making progress at some points, or did you feel like you were behind most of the time?
I felt like I was behind most of the time. I knew from my first match with Rex, though, that there was no guarantee he was waltzing through the seed. I figured he was experiencing a fair amount of rudeness himself, so I never gave up, but I definitely felt behind the whole way. It didn't start to feel good until I went down the hook route and put a crystal sword in Cecil's hands, and I'm like, okay, pedal to the metal. Let's go find our go mode as quick as we can.
And your early game, especially, you were carried by that Kane and by that Rydia, especially once you dove that hairdryer's chest. How does it feel to have Rydia as your MVP in these flags?
I'll take whatever MVP I can get. I'm not too proud. And the Leviathan out of Job Dwarf room felt like a bit of karma. It's like, checking the Job Dwarf is sort of a do it for the fans type thing, and it doesn't always reward you, but sometimes you find a Leviathan orb and you go, oh, hey, cool.
Yeah, that was very, very useful in getting through that Underground, a Dwarf Castle, etc.
And
Well, you
so-
had a heck of a tournament, defeating Dusty Griff, only person to do that in the group stage, I think, ever. And just coming up a little bit of short here. What are you going to take away from this tournament?
So, like, it was definitely a group of death in a tournament with a lot of difficult groups. This is certainly one group anyone could point at and say, no, this was the group of death. And, you know, you could at least make the argument, which is not my first time dealing with such a thing. ZZ3, I had Baka Shinobi, Penguinator, and Borin Soren. But the difference for me, my perspective, is that I was much newer when I faced that ZZ3 group, and I played against Baka and Penguinator like a gambling madman out of his mind. I just looked at what they did and said, you know what, I refuse to do that. If it's there, they have already beat me. After my matches in this group, you know, my wins, my losses, how the losses went down, I don't feel that way anymore about myself. I feel like if in the next tournament I were to draw another group like this, I would still be comfortable playing my game, doing the percentage plays instead of the wild gambles, and still feel like, regardless of what the group is, I at least have a legitimate shot. So that is my takeaway from the tournament. I'm better than I used to be.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I mean, you've shown great progress, tournament over tournament. Coming into this one, you know, you were 3-2. You finish at 3-3, but again, in this group, that is no, you know, nothing to be ashamed of. Like, that's still a really good record. This group that you find yourself in, Dusty Griff, obviously an all-time great. Microcorgs finished what, top 4 in the last tournament. Rex has done nothing but make brackets in every tournament he's been in. Like, you got a pool full of sharks, and it's a tough go, but you know, that's how we keep getting better, is putting ourselves to those tests, and you dang near made it, my friend. You put on a heck of a show, and we appreciate you for that.
Thank you. And yeah, that's exactly how I feel about it myself. Give me another group like that, then, you know, we'll just see what I've got again.
Absolutely. Well, that's you know, unfortunately the end of your run for the tournament, but I imagine that's not going to be the last time we see you. You know, we hope at least that we get to hear you on comms, if nothing else. But what are some of your off-season plans, if you have any, for Free Enterprise?
Finish out tax season. I started working at a CPA practice at the beginning of February, so that's going to keep me busy until the end of April. Then I'm going to get moved to a place near said practice and get the new computer and everything else set up so that I'm not working from this laptop anymore. And then once all that's done, we'll just kind of see what time it is. It might already be time to prep for the next tournament by then, but if it's not, I'm going to take some of the YAMLs I've made and update them for the new version and start messing around with those. I do like mystery seeds. They're a lot of fun.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad to hear that everything is on the up and up and moving on up for you outside of the Free Enterprise universe. So I don't really have anything else for you, Commander. Again, always appreciate you, you know, putting on a great show for us. Sheep, you got anything else for Commander?
No, just want to congratulate you again on a tournament well run. You acquitted yourself super well, and GG's again, and we'll see you down the road.
Thank you, Sheep Launcher. Thank you, Possum, for the comms. I'm going to enjoy going back and listening to it. I always do. S-Grunt, this was a doozy. Well done. Your name will now be feared amongst runners when you step into the restream booth, if it wasn't already. Scythe Marshal, we gave you lots of stuff to light up, and I hope you enjoyed doing it. And everyone watching, there's going to be a lot more fun action in the brackets. Stay tuned. It'll be here. It'll be Free Enterprise 2. Probably some on RPG Limit Break.
And GG's again.
Thank you.
All right, well, congratulations again to Rexbanner on making it to the play-in race. Time TBD, but there will be plenty of action tomorrow. Keep your eyes peeled on this channel, the Free Enterprise channel, Free Enterprise 2. Maybe on RPG Limit Break, we'll announce the schedule as soon as we have it, but there will be more Free Enterprise action tomorrow.
Yeah, I believe tomorrow we have a couple of races that are set to be run. I think we have Beer Nerd versus Boney C at 2 Eastern. I believe we have Klopfer and Mike at 10 Eastern. I think we may have some others as well that are coming together from various play-ins. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for those races as they pop up on the Discord. Speaking of, if you haven't already joined the Discord, now would be a great time to do so you can stay in tune with everything that is happening Free Enterprise related.
Yeah, you don't want to miss it tomorrow because this is the last chance for these racers to get into brackets.
Exactly. But that is going to do it for us. Oh, we have some breaking news hot off the press. Rex and Microcorg. So Rex, your winner from this evening's race. Rex and Microcorgs will be at noon tomorrow. So we will do our best to make sure that also is restreamed. So everyone will definitely see you back for that one. So at least 3, possibly 4 races on the schedule for tomorrow. So a full day of Free Enterprise. But that is going to do it for us here today. Make sure before we depart that you give all of the behind-the-scenes folks, again, S-Grunt, Sheep Launcher on comms with me, and Scythe Marshall doing the tracking. Give everyone a follow, give the runners a follow, Rexbanner and Commander Leonhart. But we are out of here for Free Enterprise for the moment, and we're going to go support our friends over at Midwest Speed Fest, currently doing a marathon. I believe to support, I think it is the Music Foundation. It's basically to keep music in schools, to make sure that everyone is getting that music education that they deserve, and it's so important to so many of us. So I think that is where we are headed off to. Sheep Launcher, it's been a pleasure as always. I enjoy doing this as part of the Super S team now as well.
It sure has been, and of course give Possumorpheus a follow. Even though Possumorpheus doesn't want you to enjoy music in Free Enterprise, wants kids to learn music, so happy to support our friends. Until next time, so long.
Yeah, take care, y'all. And just in case there are folks over there at the Midwest Speed Fest Marathon going on, please make sure not to spoil this race or any others. Thanks, y'all. Take care.